So let's start. We have a two participant. So basically, we have to ask multiple, like a frequent question asked by the interviewer for SQL DBA. Okay. So let's start first. Okay, Ravi, could you please tell me what is a backup policy implemented in your company?
Yeah, sure, sir. Sir, in our company, we have a backup policy like we take full backup on every Saturday at 12 p.m., 12 a.m., and on the differential backup on the daily basis, except the Saturday and the transaction log backup in every 30 minutes.
Okay, so basically, next question, follow-up question I'm asking now. Could you please
Yeah.
tell me, like, on what basis you are deciding when you have to take like a log backup? It's a 30 minutes or
Yes.
maybe 15 minutes or 5 minutes. So how you will be deciding I have to go and
Hmm.
take a backup, transaction log backup every 30 minutes or different time?
Yeah. So, sir, basically, we decide basically we decide the priority on the two bases for how much long we can do the manual entries and for how much time we can afford the data loss. So, based on these two, we decide the priority of the table, and according to that, we decide the time of transaction of our basically decide our log backup.
Okay, so basically, who will provide this information? Who will provide a input to you so that you can make a changes into the your backup policy? Who will provide this
So,
information in your company basically?
so basically our developer team provide us this information.
Developer or management basically?
So our manager.
Manager or man? Okay, no problem. So basically, it's a depend on. Come, let's suppose I'm a owner of one application, and one application is consuming a data from the one database. Okay, so basically, m- product owner, or you can say application owner, or maybe company management will provide information to us when we have to take a log backup and how much data I can say like it's they will afford losses of those databases. On basis of that, like we'll get a confirmation from the top management, or you can say application owner. They will say, I'm okay with the 30 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes. So on basis of that, we have to take a decision and we have to change log backup schedule. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Next question. So basically it's a scenario based question I'm asking. L- On basis of whatever like a backup policy you explain. Let's
Yeah.
suppose, let's just start some calendar and I'm asking now because you are like going with a 30 minutes log backup. Okay, 30 minute log backup. Now I want to know, let's suppose my server corrupted 948. Okay, let's assume. So what
Okay.
is a restore process from your side basically? Let's suppose 942, your production server or whatever server you have, it's a corrupt due to like a maybe disk issue or due to maybe any other issue. So now I'm asking what should be a steps you will take, which backup you will take and restore your server with a minimum loss. Could you please tell me?
Yeah. So first of all, we restore our last full backup that
Last
we
full
had.
back. Okay, we have. So which date full backup you'll be restoring?
Yeah, sir.
Are you able to see
And
my are you able to see my calendar here?
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, tell me. So now is your 9th of Feb. Your server corrupt 9:42. Which
Okay.
date, which backup you will take and restore and your second server?
So first of all, as I told you, we take our full backup on the Saturday. So as we see on the calendar, on 8th of Feb, it's a Saturday. So first of all, we restore our last full backup of 8th of Feb.
Okay.
After that, we just go on the latest differential backup.
Okay, so tell
Uh,
me
ba-
which one differential will you will took?
yeah, so basically, first of all we take the restore the last full backup, and after that, by every 30 minutes we take the log backup, cause on ninth at the 9:42 our server is crashed, so I we don't
Okay, okay,
have.
one second, let me recap. You said first I have to restore eighth full backup with no recovery. First step. Second step, which backup you will took?
Sir, we don't take any differential backup. We just
Why
can.
not? You
So,
said
because
you
sir, as our server is crashed at 9:42.
okay,
So,
so
so
it
before,
means 9 before 9:42 your differential
yeah,
is already done. You know, because you said you took a full backup on Saturday, it means Sunday,
yes.
same times, differential backup is already completed.
No, sir, on Sunday 12 p.m. means on the
12 p.m. or
when
12
this,
a.m. 12 p.m. or 12 a.m. You tell me.
sir, 12 a.m.
Okay, so it means 12 a.m. is already passed.
Oh, okay, sir. I understand. I understand, sir, your point.
Okay, so what should be next action after full backup?
So after full backup, we just take the our latest differential backup that we take on the 12 a.m. on 9, and after that we just go with the in order. We just take all the log backup one by one till the 9:30, and after that, and that's the process of restoring all the
So
backups
it
from.
means you are saying you will be restoring your last log backup 9:30. It means you
Yes.
have a 12-minute loss. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
is this right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
so basically, let's suppose 12-minute lost. So maybe those loss already afforded by your company. They said like we can go till 30 minutes maximum loss.
Yeah.
And that's why you took your log backup every 30 minutes. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
next
sir.
step. I think you have to add this answer basically. Let's suppose you have completed a last log backup, restore 9:30. Next, you can take your to tail log backup. If your like whatever server is running this backup, your server is up. Okay. So if server is up, so you can take a tail log backup. Okay. And after that, you can restore tail log backup on your new database server so that you will get like a 12 minutes transaction from the log. But your log should be accessible, your server should be up and running. You got my point?
No, sir. I didn't understand.
So basically what I'm saying, like let's suppose you completed last restore 9:30, your last
Yes.
log backup. Next, you have a
Yes.
12 minutes loss. So
Yes.
if your corrupted server is already available, okay,
Yes.
accessible, but your data file is corrupted, but your log file is not corrupted.
Hmm.
So for this case, you have to take tail log backup from your corrupted server. And those tail log backup, you have to restore on your new database server, whatever you are going to restore. So basically, you have to add this point basically for your like a good improvement performance so that you can recover your database till loss basically. If your server, second like a primary server is you can say accessible, maybe data file is
Mm.
corrupt, but log file is accessible. So you can take tail log backup. Okay. So let me go with
Okay, sir.
another question for now. Let's suppose uh, your one job is failing. Okay. So what should be approach? How you can identify which log is failing and what would be fixed for your failure jobs? How you can start checking those part?
Sir, can you please uh, say the question again?
Okay. I'm asking, you got to know your job is failing, SQL job is failing,
Okay.
or maybe it's a
Uh-huh.
index optimization job, index rebuild job is failing. Okay. So you tell me how you will be find like why your job is failing and what should be action you will take. Any job is
So,
failing.
sir,
Let's take example. Like I'm not asking a specific to rebuild job. I'm asking any SQL job is failing. How you will get to know what is the error behind it?
so basically, first of all, we check on our SQL Server agent job history.
Okay,
By wizard, we just go on our SQL Server agent and expand the job
okay,
and check on our history. If any, basically, if any, if something happened there, we just check on them. And second method, we just go on with the query
okay. So
or check on our
I
execution plan.
already have a SQL server. You tell me if any job is failing, what should be
Uh,
action you will take practically basically? Please explain what I have to do if any job is failing in this SQL server.
yes, sir. We just go on the SQL Server agent
Okay, let me explain. Then next.
and after that, just expand the jobs.
Okay. So how you got to know which job is failing here? So basically what you have to explain practically. Don't explain. Now you got to see like a 10 or 20 job is listed here. Okay. So how we'll get to know which job is failing? I didn't like let's suppose now I explain to you one job is failing. So you can check history. But if I will ask, you tell me, Rabi, what what our job is failing in your server and server name is this SQL server 01. So you have to click here job activity monitor. Okay. So basically job activity monitor will help you to find out what our job is failing. So you have to click here in a view job history. Okay. And
Okay.
here you can see last job failure. Okay. Let me expand here. You can see here is a last job outcome. So click here and you got to know all failed job came up. Are you able to see? So
Yes,
all
sir.
so you have to click here. So unknown job is this one. Success job is this one. Okay? And
Yes, sir.
failed job, if you can descending order or ascending, if you can go sort, you will get to know these are job is failing. Okay, you got to know we have a seven are failing. So how you can identify why this job is failing? How you got to know basically? So you have to right click on the specific job and go with a view history. Okay? In view history,
Okay.
you got to know what are error basically. So don't click here. You have to expand and then in code detail and inline error message here. You got to know. So basically,
Yes, sir.
this is the expectation from my side, or interviewer will also ask to you. So you tell me, Rabi, how you can identify what our job are failing and what should be error. How you can identify those error from the jobs. You got my answer.
Yes, sir. I got your answer.
So basically, each and everything you have to expand. You can expand your SQL agent and then you have to click on job activity monitor.
Job activity
Okay.
monitor.
And then sort your job on basis of, you can say, last run outcome. Please note this mind
Okay.
and make a descending or ascending. You got to know all list of the failure job you'll get here. And if you want to
Okay.
know exact error message, select your job, right click and view history, and then expand your jobs, and you have to check what is your error message inline
Error
those.
me.
Okay. So basically this is expectation. Okay. So you can
Okay, sir.
see. Okay. So basically this is the steps you have to follow while explaining to interviewer. Okay. Next
Yes, sir.
question. I'm asking you and Asu also, basically Asu is here also. So if you have both have an answer, please explain one by one. So let me start. Let's suppose I'm asking uh, your server is not performing well. Okay. So basically I'm getting some performance issue on the database server. What should be action you will take? What should be action you will take to identify what issue is running there? You got my question? Let's suppose
Yeah. Yeah.
my server is not performing well, basically. So you tell me,
Okay.
what should be action? What should be your start point? How you'll find which query, what procedure, which job is creating performance degradation? So could you please tell me how you will be
Yeah.
starting to find out? So both anyone can explain, like a Baba is there, Asu is there, you also here. So if you can explain, then we'll get a more information.
Sir, as you tell, we have experienced performance issue in our server. So first of all, we check or basically we check on our task manager and where we see the CPU uses, memory uses, or our uh, disk input output. If there is some issue, then we just uh, do the
Okay, so how will be
needed
starting?
thing.
How you will be starting? Let's suppose I have to check. You have a server here,
Okay.
okay? You tell me
Yes.
what process you'll get through, and so that you got to know this query is a creating problem. So first step, let me explain so that note your like a note in your mind basically while explaining. So first step,
Okay.
I have to check server is, let's suppose I said server is not performing well. So server includes with a SQL services along with a Windows server. Okay. So first step,
Yeah.
I will right click on the server and I have to click
Yeah.
task manager. First step. Now, so you can see more detail I'm going with, and here I have to check process. In a process,
Mm.
I have to click here and check which its SQL is a consuming a highest CPU or memory. Okay. So you can
Okay.
see here this one SQL services are
Mm.
using this much like a 395 MB memory, 269. It means memory consumption point of view. Your SQL server is the highest consumer of memory. You got? If I
Yes,
can
sir.
go here, this one is a ascending. If you can click here, you will get a highest consumer of memory is SQL server only. You got?
Mm.
And which one?
Yes.
SQL server 1. And here is a SQL Server 2. Let's suppose in a server you will get only one server. Okay. So you will get
Hmm.
this server is consuming a high memory. Okay. Next section. Let's suppose this is a not a case. It means let's suppose this application is consuming a higher memory. So first step, if first consumer is a SQL Server, it means you have to check now SQL Server utilization. Okay. Let's suppose this
Okay.
is not a case, like a antivirus is consuming high memory. So I can say my SQL Server is not consuming high memory. You have to check at your end. Okay. Or you
Okay.
you can't say you have to check at your end. You can say window team will check because my application, my SQL Server is not consuming high memory. But here is not a case. Here is a case your SQL Server is consuming high memory. So next step, you have to go with a SQL Server. Okay, you got my point?
Yes, sir.
And here you have to check like we have, ac- you can say activity monitor. Here is a icon. Are you able to see?
Yes, sir.
You have to click here activity monitor and you got to know what are expensive query, recent expensive queries are running here. Okay.
Okay.
So these are expensive query. Okay. So let's suppose I
Mhm.
got to know this queries are performing well and this insert statement is running. So on basis
Mhm.
of a recent expensive query, I got to know this queries are consuming high memory or high CPU. Okay. You can check via
Yeah.
database also. You can see you have to click descending or ascending order. You got to know what are query are these queries are running long. You got to know extended even.
Hmm.
So it's a running maximum duration in this millisecond basically. So on basis of this report, activity monitor expensive report, you got to know these queries are consuming high memory, high CPU or high consumer of the server. Okay. Those query we have to check and then whatever like action you have to take. Like let's suppose I got one query is performing badly. So next action, I have to check with the management and I have to say, could you please tell me, can I kill this query? Okay. Next step, you have to go with a new query and then you have to SP who to active. What are active queries running here? With help of this query, you got to know these are consumer or maybe next process. You have to go with a sys.sys process. Okay. Sys.sys process basically. And here you have to say session ID. Okay, let me check what are columns are there. So on basis of that, I will check like a okay SPID. So here you will say SPID greater than 50. Basically, if session ID is greater, it means those are user session. So you got to know
Okay.
these are queries running here. Okay.
Hmm.
So on basis of CPU, let me go with the order by CPU. If CPU is consumer, high consumer, order by CPU
Mhm.
descending. You got to know these are higher consumer of CPU. And you have to check
Hmm.
what are queries running here. Let's suppose this is a higher CPU consuming. Now, how you got to know this query? This SPID is creating problem. So how to know what are query running behind this session? So you have to go with a DBCC input buffer and you have to pass your SPID 66. You got to know what are queries running. Okay. So basically
Okay.
these are a step you have to take care. Now you got to know, let's suppose you want to know which person is running these queries. Then you have to go with the SP who to and place your SPID. You got to know which person is executing. So now you have
Okay.
to like let's suppose you got to know this is a login ID. This login ID
Mhm.
is running this session. So next
Mhm.
action, you have to ask with a manager, this query execute by this login ID with this machine. Let's suppose now is showing my machine, my ID is showing. Let's suppose if this server used by your. So I will get your computer name here. Okay. I will get your IP address and I will get your login ID. Okay. So I will ask my manager, this person, Ravi is executing this job, 66 session ID
Mhm.
and 66 session ID contains this query. You tell me what I have to do. Can I kill or can I wait? So this is a high level process you have to explain with your interviewer. So they got to know, what is a basic debugging technique to identify. So whatever like I start to end, I explain to you. And same thing, you have to explain your interviewer so that they will happy. You got my answer?
Yeah. Sir, basically, when our interviewer got the held this question about the server performance, then we go with this answer.
Okay, yeah, yeah. I'm not asking for the SQL performance. If they are going for
Oh,
the SQL performance, you have to go with
yeah,
these steps. If they said,
only this step.
yeah, this step. If they ask, Ravi, you tell me your server is not performing well.
Okay.
So it means maybe your SQL server or maybe your Windows server. So for that, I
Okay.
already explained to you. Right click
Yeah.
on the task manager and you have to check what process are consuming high CPU. So on basis of this value, like if you can go ascending or descending, you got to know this SQL like a services is consuming 439 MB memory. Okay, and all are lesser. You got to know all are this like a descending order. So basically, second consumer is the second instance. Then Zoom meeting is consuming. So on basis of current state, you can say I have to check now SQL services. It means SQL services is consuming high memory. You got my concept? So if they
Yes,
will
sir.
ask SQL performance, then you have to go with these steps, whatever I explained to you. If they are asking server performance, so you have to go with a task manager and then you have to come with these steps. But if he can explain both part, they will understand, they got to know he's a good in a SQL debugging, something like that. You got?
Yes, sir.
So please go through. Maybe I will share this recording to you. Okay.
Yeah.
So let me start with the next session and then we can go through. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.